Thanks for joining us. My name is Lyle Malcolm, and with me is Christopher Boswell of Real Window Creative. The last time Chris and I got together was probably 3.5 years ago or more, where we talked a little bit about Chris and his endeavors in photography and his creativity. And Chris has made a number of moves here lately, as have I, actually. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Chris a little bit about Real Window Creative. We're going to talk and the move that he's done.
You know what?
We're also going to talk about a certain thing called urban archaeology, and we're going to let him define that. And then he's moving quite a bit into YouTube, and he's got a big YouTube venture that he's trying to pull off. But at any rate, Mr. Boswell, how are you today?
I'm good. And it was your fault I moved. You did it first. And then I was so distressed I had to follow you, sort of.
Well, the Northwest was getting awfully crowded
And expensive.
and expensive.
And
Yeah,
rain.
It was crowding my bank account, man.
Yeah, and it was just, gray. 280 days of gray is just about 200 too many.
I'm actually reminded about that Fraser episode where he was complaining about the constant gray, and then he lost a big chunk of his audience because people were mad. I think the only people that might be mad about that actually live in Seattle, and that's not a whole lot of the United States.
Okay,
So,
well, forget that. I love Seattle. It doesn't rain too
yeah,
much. I love you, Seattle. I don't want to
yeah.
lose anybody.
If you want a tan, go to Seattle.
Politically,
if you want a smaller bank account, go to Seattle.
if you want to pay twice as much for gas, go to Seattle.
Yeah. What is it? It's almost $7 a gallon there.
I was talking to my buddy Thane the other day. He's going to come down here, and so I was getting gas, and I sent him a screenshot. It was $2.79. He sent me one back because he was buying a gas station too, and it was $5.99. So
$5.99,
literally
$6.
But yeah, it's probably
$6.
more for the places. But yeah, double. That's more than double. That's a huge.
Yeah, when I made my escape, gas I think was $4 a gallon, and the further I got towards Kansas, which is Mecca for me, um, the cheaper gas got. And when I crossed the Kansas-Colorado border into Kansas, it was $1.47.
Oh wow! Well, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago, right?
That 3 years ago.
3. Well,
Yeah,
here,
just a little over 3.
if you go to
3 years ago, April.
it's funny. There's a little tri-state here where I am. It's running. You can get about 290. Then you go to Indiana, you can start getting it for 269. But if you go over to Illinois, then it jumps back up to 350. So strategic gas buying is a good thing.
Yes, it is, especially if you're on the road. But at any rate, man, you are now where?
I'm just going to say an undisclosed location in the Midwest. No, we ended up in Kentucky, but we still have. We have dual.
Watch out for those drones overhead, buddy.
We're still in Seattle to a degree as well. So dual residency is what I've learned the term. If you get pulled over, they want to know what's your tabs, why are your tabs, whatever. Sir, I am lucky enough to enjoy dual residency, officer.
Good answer. But you are in Kentucky in an undisclosed location,
right?
In an unmarked building.
It's the
probably 3 miles underground.
Right. So I'm so used to not seeing the sun that I might as well stay underground.
Absolutely. I noticed that you've got some vitamin D3 on the table behind you.
What?
I'm just kidding. That's a Seattle reference.
I missed it. Totally over my head.
Oh, I have to supplement vitamin D3 in Seattle.
I thought you were being serious because there's some in this.
All right. So at any rate, you got to this undisclosed location, and you basically started over and started working on making your life over again.
I wanted a house, and I didn't own a house. And on my income, our income, I couldn't buy a house in Seattle. And I watched all the houses around Tacoma, actually. Quadruple, double, triple, quadruple. The one across the street sold. It was kind of the final. I was almost the final nail in the canal, coffin, but it went for. I watched it. Friends buy it for 100,000, and it sold for 645. That same house, and I was like,
"Yeah."
And then I got a new neighbor and she wasn't that nice. And the landlord started, I had a good run with my landlord, about 16 years, but it was enough. So here I am. Yeah. And it costs a lot to get here. And it was a lot. You don't,
Hmm.
when you're 31 years old, it's harder to move and you've
Oh,
acquired
yeah.
stuff. So anyway, yeah, here I am. And we're still working out of open boxes. I just dug through a box for these clippers because I wanted my fingernails to be reasonably clean, and because I knew my hands might flash in front. So this took like 5 minutes to find this simple tool, and I probably have 8 of them. So I'm going nuts right now. I got to get organized. But that's another story.
Well, you moved an entire household, and then I'm going to guess you've been accumulating since you've been there.
I am a obsessive at everything. So
Hmm.
includes accumulating stuff I don't need half of it.
Well,
Yeah.
if you haven't watched the or listened to the interview that we did a few years ago, if you're not familiar with Chris, he is a graphic artist, an amazing photographer. He does a lot of drone footage. He travels. He's got a collection of photography that and stock images that are available to purchase off different sites that span over how many years?
Oh, 30.
30 years. That's quite a body of work.
It is. A couple file
And
cabinets worth. And I have print bins. You should see these print. I've got those professional 48-inch that I can select the library archive.
oh yeah.
Yeah. And now there's prints laying around and I love that thing. I don't know what it is, where I got that, but I have a wood one over here too. And I have one down at the studio too. I love those. It's like a map drawer, the little thin, drawers like this. And
Oh
so
yeah.
print, I don't have to have that stuff laying out because I get in a mood and I'll print 200 prints in a session. I have to get those in the drawers, so otherwise they'll get trampled on by the dogs or whatever.
Right.
Feed on.
Oh, and by the way, Chris is a big dog lover as well. But anyway, you've moved into something else since you've been at that undisclosed location in the Midwest, something called urban archaeology. So tell me a little bit about urban archaeology, Chris.
The Urban Archaeology Shop and Gallery. So when I got here, I found that these vendor malls are big down here. Think of the
Hmm.
pickers, right? Those guys
Right.
on TV show. I've got a high white van now. People call me the picker now. And I thought, well, I'm really an urban archaeologist with photography, right? I'm finding stuff in the urban landscape that I'm photographing. Plus, then I started, I'm getting these motorcycle parts that I'm making sculptures out of and stuff. I'm searching the landscape for that stuff and bringing it out. It's archaeology. And then I make it into something new, shop and gallery. So these little stores, I get this bright idea that I wouldn't have to rent a storage unit because I had way too much to fit in my house. So I started, I had stuff on Etsy and it was in boxes. So I thought, well, let me take my Etsy and eBay stuff over to these little stores and I can store it there while it sells. Well, the first one flopped horribly and they're out of business now, but because I didn't know the market here, there's not as much money for art here. And but now that's morphed into, I have 7 of those locations selling the prints and some of the other stuff I make. I do 3D printing. I'm going to make sculptures out of sewing machines, the old Singers, turn it into a motorcycle or whatever. So there's all kinds of stuff I do. And I wanted a really distinctive name that had a good search presence and told the story. Urban Archaeology Shop and Gallery. So
This, by the way, if you can see it on the video, is one of Christopher's creations.
there's just 3D
He
thing.
made me a Harley clock a couple of years ago, and it adorns the wall of my recording booth here in the studio.
Awesome. Yeah, the 3D printers have not been broken out yet. And that I'm already might be through that phase. I don't know. But I don't even have time for it. But we've got them up there. We're trying to fit them we're gonna have a whole production area. Plus now I'm renting a space downtown where there's gonna be production for YouTube, studio, maybe a workshop in the back. This place is only 1,200 square feet. And there's a small apartment up here, but it's just, and I've learned that I like spacious. I like spacious, sparse. It makes me the happiest. So I need more room
Hmm.
for that, right? So there's a lot of stuff going away, but yeah, so so then from there, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but right about the time I was, when these shops came up, I first started putting my city skylines in there in my own work. And that was fine, but I knew I needed some more variety and more graphic design. And all of a sudden AI popped up. I kept seeing AI, right? Artificial intelligence, and I hadn't really looked at it. And so I went and looked
Okay,
at
let me stop you for just a second.
I jumped ahead.
A lot of people who are my age or close to it and older, they're a little confused about exactly what AI is. Can you put what AI is in just a couple of sentences or maybe a paragraph?
Oh no, but I'll
Okay.
make it.
How about a few bullet points?
It's going to be longer. Okay.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Artificial intelligence. I don't know why they call it artificial, because it's coming from a human being, so it's real intelligence that somebody's programming a computer. When I first found it, I was very disappointed, because what I found was Adobe's leading edge of this. And if somebody types into Adobe Firefly, for instance, Seattle skyline, that computer is going to sample all images that it can find from Google, what they put in there, and then it's going to blend those together into a new image. And guess what? Probably going to have my images in it, mixed. So they're fighting in court right now about the copyright implications of this and whatnot. Sometimes if you do an image, you can even see the artist's signature down where it was, but you can't read it. So it's actually blended it together where it becomes unreadable. So that's what it is. So when you tell an AI computer, server, whatever, Seattle skyline, it brings in, I don't know how many images. It's probably as many as it can find. I'd have to do more research, but then it blends them into an image that it thinks you want to see. And then you can tweak that and do colors and do commands. I've done a video on it on YouTube. It's actually did a live last night, and I have two others. Go look at YouTube, and I actually go through the server and show what different commands make and stuff. I was actually very depressed about it for about a week, because it's like, and a lot of photographers are mad about it, because it's like, oh, it's going to put us out of business and all this, render us useless. And it's kind of like the, film going away to digital, or the inkjet printer from the Heidelberg press, or, we could go on and on and on, the horse to the carriage, or the horse to the car. This is just evolution, and it's progress. So I can either be mad about it and go curl up in a ball and get a bottle. Oh, I woke up one morning, I thought, wait a minute. I was already looking for more variety in my prints, and it hit me. I'm like, I drew first, right? And now I can be the graphic designer that I always wanted to be and was too lazy. So I went right out, got in that server, bought a subscription, and the first 3 days, I didn't leave the front of it. I had a laptop up in the bed. I was just like getting ideas. I mean, I've been able to put stuff in there that I wanted to shoot photographically, that I couldn't come up with a way to do. It's too extravagant or too much set or whatever. Now I can do it. So I just love it. I love it. I don't know where it's going. We'll just have to see. But
Now, have you put some of those prints out in some of the locations that you've got?
Yeah, here's one right here. So I wanted to do some wildlife. So I just put in Billy Goat, with flowers on a white background. And that's what I got.
Impressive.
So there's the tag. It's priced up. Where's the tag? Oh, here. Yeah, there it is. My vendor number, the price, Urban Archaeology Shop. We got the logo on the back. We've even gone upscale, and we got some theft deterrent.
Whoa.
Woo! Somebody walks
We're
out.
barcoding and everything now.
Ooh, we're getting serious, man. Here's so here's the prompt for this. Kids having fun riding their bikes on a path. Watercolor style.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what else we got here? Let's see, we got another here. No, those are all the same. Then we could do beautiful girl in a convertible. Now
I assume you got her number.
this, see, I could just do this from my seat here in the studio. Before, to create this, I'd have to pay a model $50 an hour and have a car and a convertible and a road that looked decent. That'd be a whole day and makeup
And
artist.
appropriate weather.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
so there's changes coming. And you got this chat bot where they're writing AI, right? So you could just ask for the history of NPR, and that computer will spit out 3 or 4 paragraphs for you. It's exciting time, I think. Really, I've sometimes I just laugh at what comes up, out of it, and
the term hive mind comes to mind.
There's a lot of challenges. Sometimes you get 6 fingers, 3 legs. There's certain things it's not very good at. And also,
well, then again, you could have that if you live too close to a cell phone tower. So that happens.
But if you give it something that there's not many images out there of, it totally blanks because it doesn't have anything to draw from. No images.
Okay.
So see.
So the well has to be deep enough, you're saying.
Right. But that means that I can still be unique. And here's the other thing about Midjourney that I love. See, when I first got in there, you're in a server with a bunch of people and they're grabbing your images. So next thing you know, you see a guy that's got your image and he's refining it. I'm like, well, this is no good. So I looked harder, and you just have to pay for a higher level. So now I have private server stealth, fast stealth. So my stuff goes up first and is able to use the most generating power. Everybody has to wait for me to get done, and they can't see what I'm designing. So it's all private,
that was smart.
I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
So you mentioned that you did a YouTube thing on AI, last night?
Yeah, I did my first.
Let's talk about YouTube for a minute, because I've watched this evolution of focus with you, and for many years.
Point. How long do we go back?
Oh my gosh, we go back
12 to 15.
14.
Yeah.
I think it's right around 14 years.
Yeah.
And I've watched that focus go from just pretty much photography, and of course, you were big into self-improvement kind of text and coaching and all those kind of things, but personally your deal was photography. And then all of a sudden now we're looking at wanting to do more retail.
I'm glad you asked
your
that.
stuff.
I realized I started losing money, and I realized, what are you doing, Chris? Like, you're still trying to find yourself. Hold on. And somebody said something about my superpower. They said, photography is your superpower. And I went, oh, superpower. And then I got into these. So I thought, let me pull back on the rest of this and get back to the basics. So I got in a couple of these Facebook groups of newbie photographers. Everybody can be a photographer for now. And these people are going and doing weddings, and they haven't ever done one, and they're charging people. It's like, you don't need a license, right? And it's pretty scary, and they're going to get themselves in trouble. And that's what I was kind of being judgmental of it at first. And then I realized that I've forgotten more than they'll probably ever know. So I started answering their questions and blowing their minds. And then I blew my own mind, because I thought, well, hell, I don't want to sit here and do this. Let's do this in YouTube, and I'll have a huge following because I know a lot of stuff, and I can go back to the basics, and like I'm starting over and just show, they don't even know how to shoot manual mode, right? And they want to, or they don't know what aperture priority mode is, or shutter priority, or full program. They don't know, which is fine, and I can show them. So
many people, no point and click.
And that's where I'm kind of headed back to. I'm going to put most of the energy on that, because it's what I know, it's what I've done. And when I show that, and when I use that, people respond to that like more positively than anything else I'm doing or have done. So why would I was kind of curious, why are you steering away from that? So like steering back.
So so you're doing, besides the other things that you have on YouTube, you're doing, basically photography advice and instruction tutorial.
Yes. Let me tell you what I've been on YouTube since 2015, 2010, getting like no traction. I have 350 subscribers now. And I found a guy that was had a similar amount of subscribers that I really liked, named David Boland. And he was focusing on his music, and he's got a unique look. He's from Ireland, and he was struggling too. He couldn't find any traction. So then I found that he started a new page, and I was struggling with that too. Is the algorithm got me stuffed down because I've never been that popular, or do I need to start a new channel to get kind of a reset? It's kind of a mystery how the algorithm works. And I didn't want to lose what I already had, the watch time and all that. And so then when I looked at his new channel, he started a new channel this February. He called it The David Boland, and he changed his focus to entrepreneurial and just kind of a little bit of philosophy, but mostly being an entrepreneur, either working a job, which is the worst way to make money, or being more entrepreneurial. And he talks about the long game of that and everything. He hit it. Like 2 months later, he did a video that took off, and I went into, he mentors me now. So we do this, get on the line like this one-on-one, and he talks about what's worked for him. And he did a video on like, my life sucks and here's why, or something like that, or I stopped traveling because it was ruining my life, right? A little bit of clickbait, but he hit one that went viral. And for the next 2 weeks, he was getting 500 to 1,000 subscribers every day. I would look at him one day and he'd have 7,000. The next day I go back in, he'd have 8,000. I was like, oh, I got to talk to this guy, right? So, and what he said to me was spot on. I was trying to stay off of the camera before. You're reading my articles, and we're not even showing either one of us. We're just showing whatever videos or stills and reading this script, this writing that I've done on Medium, right? And it's a little monotone. There's not a lot of emotion. And of course, you don't see my face, which was fine with me because look, I'm getting older and I'm looking at myself now. I'm kind of falling in love a little bit. Oh, okay, never mind. But I'm not bad. I'm not that bad. So add a little hat and a feather, and we might be able to go into town for a day. So
you need a cigar. A cigar will complete the look. Just saying.
I don't have one here, but okay, I'll try that. So where was I going with that? Yeah, he said to me, Chris, I watched a bunch of your videos, and he said, I got to tell you, this is on one of our calls, and he said, I don't feel super connected to Chris Boswell, right? He said, the people want to see you, they want to relate to you, right? And he hit it on the head. So I did about face, and I've got sets set up where I can jump on here. And what really helped me was going into these Zoom meetings, and I started seeing myself on like this, and I see how I relate, what I look like, where am I looking, right? Am I smiling? Trying to smile when I talk. And so I've kind of really looked at my presence and my communication style. And I think I've improved it. So I'm going to start showing a lot of me. And then blending in, the how-to photography stuff. Mostly we're going to throw training dogs in there. We're still going to throw some stuff in, but it's going to be 75% photography. I'm actually going to do one tonight about scams on Facebook because I got scammed twice this week. So we're going to show the people what's going on.
That sounds like a Medium article coming too.
We're just going to do this completely different. I'm kind of, Medium is fine, but there's not a lot happening for me over there. So, it's kind of, if you go sit down and write for 3 hours and then a month later, 3 people read it. It's like, why am I doing this? It's fun and it's a release, but what do they say about spending 80% of your time doing what brings you 80% of your
20% of your results,
something like that?
Yep. It's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, 80-20 rule.
You get 80% of your results off 20% of your effort.
But if you're
and then you can also flip the script,
which is what I've been doing. 80% effort, 10% results, or 5.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that's called the Pirelli principle, but
it's
been a long
right.
time.
Right. Wow, you're good. You're good.
So, well, at any rate, though, so your YouTube channel is got photography, dog footage.
Slow down the old dogs. Yeah, I just got another dog, and we actually did just did a training video on how to get your dogs to recall off lead. I get a lot of questions about, man, you let your dog run alongside the vehicle and you don't have him on a leash. What the hell? He's going to get run over. Well, that's what those people are saying, that from their perspective, they don't know how to let their dog off the leash. Maybe they yell at their dog, maybe they hit their dog. So when they got off leash, it's heading for the hills and it's probably not going to come back. Well, that's not my program. Lucky already has it. So, but Zeke, I actually got this dog for a woman a year ago. I was hoping it would, she's getting older and she hasn't put the right stuff in her body, and her body's breaking down, muscles and bones. And I thought maybe this dog will help her get more active. I was wrong. She didn't groom it. She didn't, and she just wanted it gone. It was too affectionate for her, too affectionate. So
a little too needy.
She broke her hip, and I called her, see how she was doing. And she said, I said, where's the dog? And she said, he's in the house. And I said, well, who's feeding him? She said, somebody's feeding him. I don't know. I want him gone. And I was like, oh God. She was going to take him to the pound. So I dropped what I was doing and drove 500 miles to get it, and then got it and drove 500 miles straight back. And this is the most amazing dog. It's perfect for Lucky. They're both Australian Shepherd, Australian Kelpie. Lucky is now like it has upset so Lucky grabbed me the other day. They ran anyway. So Lucky's a little trying to get used to it. I didn't think he'd have any problem because we used to board dogs, but now this one he knows it's here to stay. So, and its balls are still there.
Yeah, and there's the ensuing power struggle.
Oh, Lucky's, there's no question who's the dominant one in the pack, between those two. But anyway, we did a recall thing, and I said, I'm going to train Zeke to recall in 3 sessions, right? And people were like, no, there's no way. And we had it done in 3. So the video that's up there now is we did 2 different sessions on this 2 different days, and I just let them out. And, in a space that's not right on the road type of thing. And, it took a little while, and I talk about that the whole time. The philosophy, it's kind of a dog whisperer type of thing. I'm nowhere near as good as Caesar, but I know a few things, and I don't want to have a dog I have to have a leash all the time and be dragging him around on a leash. It not only encumbers me, but also the dog. They don't particularly like that. So I want a dog just where I'm going to go, let's go. And he's going to follow me to the truck. And then I go, so you're going to follow me when we're out there, and he's going to come back when I say yes. And that's what I'm developing. So, and a lot of people want to know how to do that. So I just made a video to show them, and there's going to be more. Yeah.
So it sounds like there's just a wealth of stuff on your YouTube channel, number of different topics and things that can appeal to a wide range of people.
There's pennies worth of content there.
Pennies worth.
Pennies, cents. No, that's true. It's good sense. It's just
good sense.
Living, but again, I'm going to do a tour of my high van. We actually have a model coming to stay with us with her mother, and we're going to just do all kinds of stuff with her here on YouTube. She's actually a YouTube star already. Look her up. Rachel.
And her name is?
Rachel, God. Rachel Shaw. Here, let me find her. Let me just not screw this up. Because we'll put this in the, what do you call that down below? The comment section.
The comment section.
Rachel Sharp, she does intermittent fasting. She's lost, like you, Lyle. You've lost how many pounds?
To date, 106.
By the way, while we're on that, you're on my YouTube channel. What the hell?
I am.
You up on my YouTube channel? Why don't you talk about that for a minute while I give some details?
Well, while you're looking for that, my background is I've been a piano tuner technician for 36 years, and but I had been told my entire life that I should be into voiceover work. And right about 6.5 years ago, I built a studio, and the right person was sent my way before I even started to practice, and things began to snowball from there.
I seem to remember giving you an assignment or saying that to you as well several times.
Mm-hmm. And so I finally decided to go for it, and we've done lots and lots of commercials, some stuff for you and other folks on YouTube, a lot of private stuff, a lot of corporate things that aren't out there in the general public, but we're having fun in the studio and hopefully doing good work and coming up with great product. So,
Well,
and it's
great.
about time that I started looking at the Wichita market where I am now, and starting to try to capture some of that. But at any rate, back to you,
So
back over to your
Rachel,
YouTube. What's
Killer
that?
Killer Curves goes vlogging. That's what she has on her next time we do this, I'm going to be able to throw these up here. But Rachel Sharp 93, she's got 82,700 subscribers on YouTube off of
Okay.
306 videos. So she's a bona fide YouTube star. I'm going to turn, well, she's already a model. We're going to put her into push her into maybe some stock photography modeling, which she's never done. She's very excited. And while she's here, maybe she can teach me some stuff about YouTube. And we're going to have her in the videos too. We're going to have her set up a studio. We're going to have her kayaking. We're going to do van life shoot. She's just she's going to stay right on the property here. There's a separate residence for her, or they can stay at the studio. Mom's coming with her. It's going to be really fun. I haven't seen her mom for a long 25 years or something. So it's really exciting. And she has a brother who's kind of an entertainer that we're probably going to talk to him next. So I'm really excited. We got a lot coming up, and that will be an explosion of content coming out of that. And I'm
Well, that sounds exciting.
yeah.
I'll have to look at some of her stuff, Christopher, because see, I have gone from keto to straight carnivore. I mean, just carnivore.
I know. I've seen the post.
Okay. And um and then after another couple of weeks, I'm going to start adding intermittent fasting to the
Well,
mix.
she's one that
So it sounds like she's somebody that I need to check out.
you know what? We were talking about this early, and I think she's the one that you need to do this with.
Okie doke.
What do you think?
We'll take a good look tonight, as a matter of fact, after I get in working.
Okay.
Well, at any rate, we have been at this for a while and we have covered a number of different topics. And so it's probably time to wrap this up a little bit. It has been my pleasure to talk with my good friend and nemesis, not nemesis, just good friend, Christopher Boswell. Learned a lot from Chris down through the years.
I thought you were in a mood. I knew it. But that did now.
But I've learned a lot from Chris down through the years, and have appreciated his creativity and his heart. And it's been my pleasure today to be able to host this session, and hopefully we can do it again.
I want to tell you, I have that same musical note here in the house from Hobby Lobby.
Is that right?
Yes. Don't ever buy anything if it's not on the half price thing. But yeah. So if you guys
I actually stole that treble clef from a lady that was walking with it down the street, so I'm not sure where it came from.
That's who ran into your house the other day.
Probably a revenge hit.
Yeah. So if you guys anything you like, really what I'm going for is helping others get started in photography. It changed my life. It saved my life. I want to give that away, right? There's no reason to be afraid. You share more, you get more. The man who helps the most people wins. Look at Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. Everyone has their products, so they win the biggest. And I want to help the most people to make them happy and do what they, Joseph Campbell said something like, if you keep working in your bliss and you never make any money, it's okay because you don't lose your bliss. But if you get off the beam and lose your bliss to go make money, driving a bus or whatever, then you lose your bliss. And I didn't know this, but let me tell you this. Star Wars was based off of Joseph Campbell's ideas. He's look him up. It's the hero's journey. I never knew that. So he is the one that inspired the Star Wars trilogies that we're still watching today. And I read and listen to Joseph Campbell religiously. And so that's what's going to be here, is helping others be creative. A lot of how-tos on how to get started in AI, how to get started as a photographer, how to start your own business as a photographer, how to get into videography as a photographer, how to fly a drone. We haven't even mentioned the drone, right? And what you need for that. So please like and subscribe this video if you found it valuable. Leave us a comment down below. We're going to put all the links in for everything you see here that we used to produce this video. the stuff in Lyle's background. I got some cameras back here, the server and the lens. We'll throw all that in there, and you can go find that stuff through those links. And I want to just touch on, there seems to be a kind of a when you say subscribe to a channel, I think people think of money. And so it's kind of a block. A subscribe is basically a like Facebook. So now you get, it's free. You don't have to pay anything, but now you get notifications from that artist when they create new content. That's all it is. There's nobody going to ask you for money or come sell your, try to get your email or any of that. It's just simply telling the algorithm what you want to see. So when you bring your page up, it's going to feed you stuff that's in alignment with what you're asking for or subscribing. So that's how that works. And we really need, see, if you watch this and consume this content, but don't leave anything, a like or a comment or a subscribe, then the algorithm, you're telling the algorithm that this was worthless. You watched it all the way, but it was worthless to you. So the algorithm moves it down in the search and literally buries it. Don't do that to us.
Yeah, quick like and subscribe for a YouTuber, that is everything. And it doesn't cost you a cent.
Hey, and what's your channel, Lyle? By the way, Real Window Creative is my name. Real Window Creative Photographer. That's where you find me on YouTube. How about you, Lyle? You got a channel, don't you?
I've got a very embryonic channel with some plans to enlarge that very soon. But it's just my name, Lyle Malcolm.
All right.
You'll see it with a blue circular logo. My face is not on the channel because as a voiceover guy, I've got a face for radio. And so maybe I need to take a page out of your book and stick my mug on it. I'll give that some consideration.
Well, if they knew that you were 85, they would probably go, damn, look at that.
I look great for 85. The problem is I'm 35.
Thanks for taking the time to do this. Appreciate your call, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, let's do this again. And it's good to see you over Zoom and to chat with you, my brother.
Right,
Peace
brother.
out.
See ya. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.